Hey guys, tonight we're diving into a world of gods, dreams, and surprisingly peaceful naps. Yes, we're talking about Zeus and his thoughtful gifts to the gods of Greek mythology. Imagine this, you're in the grand halls of Olympus, the home of the gods, but there's something you didn't know. Even the mightiest gods, the ones who control thunder, love, and war, need their sleep just like you and me. But here's the twist, sleeping for the gods wasn't exactly easy. They had a lot on their plate, and they certainly didn't have time to drift off into peaceful slumbers, not without a little help from their boss, Zeus. So what does Zeus do? He gives the gods special, sleepy gifts to make sure they rest easy, no nightmares, no restless tossing and turning, just the best sleep imaginable. Sounds like the kind of gift we could all use, right? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, feel free to drop where you're tuning in from in your local time, I'm always curious about where you're all from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Zeus' gifts to the gods weren't just about giving them a good night's rest, it was about balance. Picture it, an all-powerful god like Zeus needing to make sure that the rest of his fellow gods were relaxed and rested, and therefore ready to keep the world running smoothly. After all, if your top employees are overworked and sleep-deprived, they're not going to perform at their best. So, Zeus, always thinking ahead, created the perfect remedies to grant the gods their restful sleep, ensuring that peace and order remained intact on Olympus. As strange as it may sound, sleep was an essential gift, one that kept everything in check and allowed the gods to continue overseeing the world's affairs. In Greek mythology, sleep wasn't just a mundane activity, it was a powerful, almost magical force that had the potential to influence everything from the gods' actions to the fate of mortals. Sleep was closely linked with the gods of dreams, rest, and even death, which shows just how integral it was to the fabric of Greek mythological beliefs. The Greeks didn't view sleep as a simple physical necessity like we do today, they saw it as a divine force with both restorative and sometimes mysterious powers. Imagine yourself in the world of the gods, where even sleep could become a way to influence the course of events, dreams, and decisions. At the center of this belief was Hypnos, the god of sleep, who, together with his brother Thanatos, the god of death, held sway over the sleep of gods and mortals alike. Hypnos was a gentle god, often depicted as a peaceful figure, with a soft, serene demeanor. He was the one who could soothe the most powerful gods and even change the fate of mortals. His realm wasn't just about sleep, it was about the space between wakefulness and dreams, where the boundaries of reality and imagination blurred. And even more curiously, the realm of sleep in Greek mythology could also be a place where gods and mortals could receive visions, prophecies, and insights, just as Hypnos himself had the power to influence the actions of gods and humans by sending them dreams. Historians still argue over the deeper meaning of sleep in Greek mythology. Was it truly a sacred force, reflecting the need for balance and rest, or was it simply a metaphor for the unconscious mind and human vulnerability? Some scholars suggest that sleep was seen as a kind of liminal state, one that existed between life and death, a state in which gods could impart messages or visions to mortals. Others argue that the god Hypnos and his power over sleep were more symbolic of the natural rhythms of human life, with the gods merely representing different aspects of the human experience. Regardless of the interpretation, it's clear that sleep held great significance for the ancient Greeks, not only in terms of rest and recuperation but also as a powerful, divine force capable of affecting everything from fate to memory. For the gods of Olympus, sleep was just as important as their waking duties. In fact, many of the gods took time to rest, especially after completing difficult or taxing work. But while sleep was important for their well-being, it was also something that needed to be controlled, lest it interfere with their duties. That's where Zeus came in. Despite his own need for rest, Zeus had to ensure that his fellow gods received peaceful sleep, free of nightmares, ensuring they could perform their roles effectively. The necessity of this restful sleep is precisely why Zeus gave out his sleepy gifts to the gods. He knew that without proper rest, they wouldn't be able to carry out their responsibilities. Historians still debate the extent to which sleep was viewed as a divine gift or a necessary, natural phenomenon in ancient Greek thought. Was it a magical power that the gods controlled, or was it simply a natural cycle that was imbued with mystical meaning? Some argue that the Greek myths imbued sleep with an otherworldly power, offering both refuge and danger, while others suggest that sleep in Greek culture was more of a practical reality, used to explain the natural rhythms of the human body. Either way, it's clear that the ancient Greeks understood the importance of sleep, both for the gods and for mortals, and incorporated it deeply into their mythology. As you prepare for rest tonight, think of Hypnos, the god of sleep, gently weaving his power over the gods and mortals alike. Imagine the soothing realm where the gods would retreat for moments of peace, much like how we retreat into our own rest. Sleep, for the ancient Greeks, was a bridge between the world of the conscious and the unconscious, a space where the divine and the human could meet in visions, dreams, and profound rest. Just like the gods, we too need sleep to replenish and rejuvenate ourselves, and as we do, we become part of the ancient rhythm that has existed for thousands of years. As we dive deeper into the world of sleep in Greek mythology, we must turn our attention to two essential figures who govern the realms of sleep and death: Hypnos, the god of sleep, and his brother Thanatos, the god of death. These two deities were often depicted together in ancient mythological texts, and their roles, while seemingly distinct, were intricately linked. Hypnos ruled over the realm of sleep, while Thanatos presided over the quiet and final rest of death. The brothers' domains were intertwined, representing the fine line between sleep, which can refresh and rejuvenate, and death, which marked the end of life's journey. Imagine yourself in the realm of Hypnos, where dreams and peaceful sleep envelop you like a warm blanket. You drift, weightless, through your thoughts, knowing that Hypnos is the gentle ruler who guides you there. His presence is calm and serene, offering you respite from the waking world. But just a step away, in the shadows, is his brother Thanatos, whose domain is far darker and final. Thanatos wasn't a figure of malice, but rather one of inevitability, guiding souls to the afterlife with the same gentle authority that Hypnos held over sleep. These two brothers embodied the natural cycle of life and death, and the ancient Greeks saw them as two sides of the same coin. Sleep and death were not so different, they were simply stages in the same eternal journey. The presence of these gods in the myths and daily lives of the Greeks highlights the deep importance of sleep and death in their worldview. Hypnos was not merely a god who lulled the gods to sleep, he was integral to the world's natural order. In a way, sleep was seen as a peaceful, temporary death, a moment when the body and mind could rest, refresh, and reset before returning to the waking world. Thanatos, on the other hand, represented the final rest. His role was to take the souls of the dead to the underworld, a place where they could no longer return from, unlike the temporary death of sleep, which left room for a return to life with each new day. Historians still argue about how the ancient Greeks perceived the relationship between sleep and death. Some suggest that sleep was seen as a reflection of death, a way of acknowledging the fragility and temporality of life. Others argue that sleep and death were seen as separate entities, with sleep offering a form of rest and rejuvenation, while death represented a permanent state of cessation. Regardless of which theory holds more weight, it's clear that the Greeks believed sleep was sacred, controlled by gods who ensured its importance in maintaining balance and order in the world. The duality of Hypnos and Thanatos also speaks to the Greek understanding of the world as a place of constant change and transformation. Sleep and death were seen as transitions, periods of stillness that provided a moment of release from the stresses of the world. For the gods, sleep was a necessary respite; for mortals, it was both a temporary escape and a reminder of the inevitable nature of death. In this way, the Greeks understood that sleep and death, though vastly different in their outcomes, both served as critical elements of the cycle of life. As you settle into sleep tonight, imagine the gentle guidance of Hypnos as he leads you into a peaceful slumber, and the quiet presence of Thanatos, watching over the end of your day. Sleep, for the ancient Greeks, wasn't just a rest, it was a passage, a brief moment of respite that mirrored the greater passage of life and death. Just as the gods rested and rejuvenated, we too find peace in our sleep, a small but important break from the waking world, allowing us to continue our journey tomorrow. As we continue our exploration of the Greek gods and their restful gifts, we come to the most powerful deity in the pantheon, Zeus, the king of the gods. While Zeus is often depicted as a ruler who controls thunder, justice, and fate, he also had a softer side. Zeus understood the importance of rest for his fellow gods, and knowing how critical sleep was to their well-being, he decided to give them a gift, a sleepy elixir, one that would guarantee restful and undisturbed sleep. But this gift wasn't just a way for Zeus to ensure that the gods had peaceful dreams, it was also a tool to maintain balance and harmony within the divine realm of Olympus. Imagine yourself in the heights of Mount Olympus, where Zeus stands as the all-powerful ruler, observing the gods and their tireless work in maintaining the world. The gods, who spend their days controlling the elements, guiding mortals, and managing the cosmic order, rarely get a break. In fact, many of the gods, particularly those who worked the hardest, like Hera, Apollo, and Athena, often found themselves unable to rest. Their duties were endless, and their energy was constantly consumed by the weight of their responsibilities. Zeus, ever the wise and thoughtful leader, recognized that even the gods needed their sleep, and so he decided to intervene. Historians still debate whether the gift of the sleepy elixir was a metaphor for something more profound, such as the natural need for all beings, gods and mortals alike, to rest. Some scholars suggest that this gift symbolized the balance between power and vulnerability, showing that even the mightiest beings need moments of peace. Others believe that Zeus, as the king of the gods, was simply acting out of kindness, recognizing the importance of maintaining peace and harmony among his fellow deities. Whatever the intent, the gift of sleep provided the gods with something vital, a restorative moment where they could rejuvenate and continue their work of overseeing the world. The sleepy elixir worked wonders for the gods, ensuring that they could sleep without interruption and wake up refreshed, ready to carry out their divine duties. This gift also had another purpose: it kept the gods from becoming too distracted or overburdened with the weight of their eternal tasks. With their minds and bodies rested, the gods could perform their roles more efficiently, keeping the balance of the cosmos intact. While the gods were immortal and impervious to the hardships of mortal life, they were still subject to the rhythms of rest and rejuvenation. Zeus' gift is also symbolic of the idea that even the most powerful beings need moments of respite. In a way, this speaks to a universal truth: the importance of sleep and rest in maintaining the health and balance of not only the gods, but of all living creatures. Whether we're gods or mortals, the need for restorative sleep is essential for our physical and mental well-being. This divine intervention of sleep was an acknowledgement of that universal need. Even the gods, in all their greatness, needed time to recuperate and prepare for the challenges ahead. As you prepare for sleep tonight, think of Zeus, looking out over Olympus, giving his fellow gods the gift of peaceful slumber. It's a reminder that rest is a necessary part of life, and we too deserve moments of restoration after a long day. Like Zeus, we can recognize the value of rest, both for ourselves and those around us, to ensure that we can continue to function at our best and face the challenges of the day ahead. So as you drift into sleep, remember that even the most powerful beings understood the importance of taking a break, whether for peaceful dreams or simply to reset for the journey ahead. As we continue to explore the role of sleep in Greek mythology, it's clear that even the gods, with all their divine powers, were not immune to the need for rest. Despite their immortality and strength, the gods required sleep, something that Zeus, as the all-powerful king, recognized and sought to address. But why did the gods need these sleepy gifts in the first place? After all, they had the ability to control vast realms, from the heavens to the underworld, and their powers seemed limitless. Yet, just like mortals, the gods experienced fatigue, stress, and the inevitable need to recuperate. And so, the idea of sleep as a divine necessity became an essential part of the mythology surrounding Zeus and his interactions with the gods. The question of why the gods needed rest and, by extension, why Zeus felt compelled to provide them with an elixir of sleep has intrigued scholars for centuries. Some believe that the sleep of the gods represents a form of balance in the cosmos. The gods, despite their powerful abilities, were not above the natural cycles that govern all life. They needed rest, just as mortals do, to maintain their strength and ability to function. This need for sleep reflects a deeper, philosophical concept in Greek mythology, the necessity of balance between activity and rest, power and vulnerability. The gods' need for sleep is a reminder that even the most powerful beings are still bound by the fundamental forces of nature. Historians still debate whether the gods' need for sleep is symbolic of their vulnerability or whether it simply serves as a narrative device to allow the gods to take a break from their eternal duties. Some scholars argue that it highlights the idea that, despite their grandeur and control over the universe, the gods were still part of the natural order, subject to the rhythms of the world and, perhaps, more relatable to mortals than we might initially think. Others suggest that the gods' need for sleep was more practical, an element of storytelling that allowed for moments of rest, quiet, and recovery in the often chaotic world of the gods. Either way, the sleep of the gods is a crucial element of their mythology, emphasizing the idea that even those who wield immense power need time to recharge and regain their strength. For the gods of Olympus, sleep was not just a way to rest their bodies, it was a way to recharge their divine powers. Much like how we sleep to restore our energy, the gods' sleep helped them to maintain their abilities and continue their endless tasks. In Greek mythology, the gods were responsible for maintaining order in the universe, managing the seasons, guiding mortals, and overseeing the forces of nature. Their roles were vast and taxing, and sleep provided them with the means to carry out these duties effectively. It's also worth noting that sleep for the gods was never an escape from responsibility, it was part of their cyclical process of restoration, keeping them in prime condition to perform their divine tasks. As you settle into your own restful sleep tonight, think of the gods in their divine chambers, receiving the sleepy gifts from Zeus to ensure their rest. Just like Zeus cared for the well-being of his fellow gods, we too must recognize the importance of rest in maintaining our strength, focus, and resilience. While we may not have divine powers to restore through sleep, we too need moments of peace and quiet to recharge after the demands of our day. Sleep isn't just about rest, it's about restoration, balance, and preparing ourselves for whatever comes next. As we continue our journey into the sleep-filled world of Greek mythology, it's important to recognize that sleep, especially for the gods, was not only a physical necessity but also a divine privilege. In ancient Greece, where gods were believed to control the forces of nature and the fate of mortals, the gods' relationship with sleep was far more significant than the mere need for rest. For the gods of Mount Olympus, sleep wasn't just about recuperation, it was a privilege, a sacred time when they could temporarily step away from their eternal duties, recharge, and maintain their divine power. While mortals like you and me sleep because our bodies and minds require it to function, the gods slept as a way to preserve their strength and ensure the ongoing order of the cosmos. But their sleep wasn't the same as ours. While our sleep is often marked by vulnerability and dreams, the gods of Olympus enjoyed a more peaceful and undisturbed slumber, a time when they could rest without the worry of their responsibilities. The gods could choose when to sleep, and it was often during moments of relative peace or when they felt their divine energy needed to be replenished. This idea of sleep as a privilege is highlighted in the myth of the gods' daily routines. The gods were seen as eternal beings, above the troubles of mortal life, but they weren't above the natural cycle of day and night, work and rest. When the gods of Olympus sought rest, it was because they, too, needed balance. This concept of sleep being a privilege for the gods is emphasized by their ability to take breaks from their duties without jeopardizing the world they ruled. Their sleep wasn't a sign of weakness, it was part of their inherent power. By resting, they remained fully able to carry out their divine responsibilities, ensuring the natural order and cosmic balance were maintained. Historians still debate the exact significance of the gods' sleep in Greek mythology. Some argue that sleep, for the gods, was a reminder of their dual nature. They were immortal, but they still had a connection to the world of mortals, who also required sleep. Others suggest that the gods' rest symbolized their detachment from the struggles of mortal life, reinforcing the idea that they were above the everyday struggles of humans. Regardless of how it's interpreted, one thing remains clear: sleep was not a passive state for the gods, it was an active choice, a sacred privilege that allowed them to remain at the peak of their power and wisdom. This idea of sleep as a divine privilege also extended to the way mortals perceived their gods. While mortals labored under the weight of their responsibilities and needed sleep to recover, the gods were seen as capable of transcending these limits. Their sleep was a luxury, an essential part of their being, reflecting their superiority and their ability to control the forces of nature. The gods, in their divine slumber, were able to rest without fear of decay or death, unlike mortals, who were bound by time and limited by their own bodies. In this sense, sleep for the gods was both restorative and empowering, ensuring they remained at the top of their divine hierarchy. As you prepare for your own sleep tonight, think of the gods of Mount Olympus, enjoying their peaceful, undisturbed slumber, secure in the knowledge that they are rejuvenating their powers and abilities. Just as sleep is a privilege for the gods, it's also a gift for us, an opportunity to reset and recharge. Whether or not we wield divine powers, we all need moments of rest to ensure we can continue to face the challenges of the waking world. Just like the gods, we too need to prioritize rest to maintain our strength and resilience. So as you drift into sleep, think of the gods, resting peacefully in their divine realm, knowing that tomorrow, they'll be ready to continue their cosmic work. As we continue exploring the connection between sleep and the gods in Greek mythology, it's important to understand how sleep directly impacted their powers. For mere mortals, sleep might seem like a passive, necessary break from our busy lives, but for the gods of Olympus, sleep was an essential aspect of maintaining their divine abilities. Rest wasn't just a way to refresh their minds or bodies, it was a vital process that ensured they stayed at the height of their powers, ready to govern the world and interact with mortals. Imagine, if you will, the gods of Olympus, beings who control everything from the heavens to the underworld, quietly resting, their powers restoring as they sleep, readying them for the day ahead. Just as we rely on sleep to recharge our energy for daily tasks, the gods needed rest to ensure their continued effectiveness. While the gods were immortal and free from the physical limitations that humans face, they were not exempt from the need for rest. Without proper sleep, their abilities could become diminished, and their divine influence could falter. Even Zeus, the king of the gods, needed his rest to maintain control over the thunder and the heavens. After all, how could he wield the power of the sky if he wasn't sufficiently rested? Sleep, for the gods, was restorative in a way that was unique to their divine nature. In Greek mythology, gods like Hera, Apollo, and Athena were constantly active, overseeing various aspects of the mortal world. Their roles required them to remain at peak performance, always prepared to intervene when necessary. If they did not sleep, their energy and focus could wane, compromising their ability to protect and guide the universe. Therefore, sleep wasn't just a way to relax, it was an essential tool to ensure that their powers remained strong and effective. Historians still debate whether the gods' need for sleep was purely symbolic, representing their need for balance, or if it was a literal requirement to preserve their divine abilities. Some argue that sleep in the myth serves as a metaphor for the cyclical nature of life, an inevitable, restorative process that even the gods must follow. Others suggest that sleep was a way to demonstrate the gods' connection to the human experience, making them more relatable to mortals. Regardless of the debate, what is clear is that sleep played a central role in ensuring the gods were able to function at their best, just as it does for us today. It's also interesting to note that the gods' powers were often restored through sleep in ways that mirror the healing aspects of rest for humans. Just as sleep helps us recover from the physical and mental demands of the day, the gods used their time of slumber to rejuvenate their divine energy. For example, when Apollo, the god of the sun, would tire from his daily journey across the sky, he would take rest and restore his strength for the following day's trek. Similarly, Artemis, Apollo's twin sister and the goddess of the moon and hunting, would also retreat to her own time of rest to renew her powers. These periods of sleep were as important to the gods as their waking moments, allowing them to carry out their duties with the vigor and power that defined their immortal roles. As you settle into your own peaceful sleep tonight, think of the gods of Olympus, resting and rejuvenating, their powers restoring as they drift off into the quiet of the night. While we may not have the power to control the elements or intervene in mortal affairs, we too rely on sleep to restore our energy and focus. Just like the gods, we need rest to face the challenges of the next day, whether they be personal, professional, or spiritual. So as you relax, know that sleep is not just a break, it's a necessary and powerful force that helps us be our best selves, just as it did for the gods. As we continue to explore the profound influence of sleep in Greek mythology, we turn our attention to Zeus, the king of the gods, and his unique control over the dreams of the other gods and mortals. While Hypnos, the god of sleep, was responsible for guiding the sleep of gods and humans alike, Zeus held a more special role: he controlled the dreams. Zeus wasn't content with merely ensuring that the gods slept peacefully, he took it a step further by influencing their dreams, ensuring they would dream of what was most fitting for their roles in the world. Imagine yourself in the grand halls of Mount Olympus, where Zeus sits on his mighty throne, watching over the gods below. As the ruler of all gods, Zeus had the power to shape the fates of both mortals and immortals alike, and that power extended to the realm of sleep. Zeus could decide what his fellow gods would dream about. He could send them dreams that would inspire them to take action, that would warn them of impending dangers, or even dreams that would send them into fits of passion or anger. Just as he controlled the weather, the seasons, and the flow of time, Zeus could also wield influence over the subconscious minds of those around him. Zeus's control over dreams extended not just to the gods, but to mortals as well. In many myths, Zeus would send dreams to mortals to either guide them or mislead them, depending on what was needed for the story. These dreams were often prophetic in nature, offering a glimpse into the future, giving warnings or promises, and providing the divine guidance needed for the characters in the myth to act. Through his control of dreams, Zeus maintained his role as a powerful, all-knowing figure, manipulating not only the waking world but the world of sleep as well. He was the ultimate puppet master of both reality and the dream world, ensuring that the dreams of his gods and mortals alike served his will. Historians still debate the full significance of Zeus's power over dreams. Some argue that his control over the dream realm was symbolic of his ability to shape fate itself. In this view, Zeus's influence over dreams wasn't just about controlling sleep, it was about asserting his dominance over the very fabric of reality. Others suggest that Zeus's control over dreams was a way to communicate with his fellow gods, ensuring they were aligned with his divine plan for the world. Whether seen as a tool of political power or a symbolic representation of Zeus's authority, his ability to influence the dreams of gods and mortals played a key role in Greek mythology. As you drift into your own dreams tonight, imagine Zeus, sitting high in the heavens, sending dreams to the gods below. Whether he's inspiring them with visions of greatness or warning them of impending challenges, Zeus's influence over dreams is a reminder of the power that sleep holds. Just as Zeus controlled the dreams of the gods, we too have the ability to shape our dreams, to let them guide us, comfort us, or even challenge us. In the quiet of the night, as you rest, think of the role that sleep and dreams play in your own life, how they can provide insights, healing, and inspiration, just as they did for the gods of Mount Olympus. As we continue to explore sleep and dreams in Greek mythology, it's fascinating to consider how dreams were not only a source of rest but also a space for divine intervention, guidance, and prophecy. For the gods of Olympus, sleep wasn't just about physical relaxation, it was also a realm where the lines between the real and the imaginary blurred, and where the gods could receive visions or revelations that influenced their decisions and actions. In this mystical space between waking and dreaming, the gods often encountered visions that revealed the future, provided insights, or stirred emotions that would shape the fate of both gods and mortals. Imagine yourself as one of the gods on Mount Olympus, drifting off to sleep. As you slip into your dream state, the peaceful stillness of sleep is replaced with vivid, often prophetic dreams. These aren't just ordinary dreams, they're filled with symbols and messages, visions that may influence the course of your actions in the waking world. You might see glimpses of the future, hints of what's to come, or even visions that fill you with a deep sense of urgency or desire. The gods, like mortals, were subject to these dreams, though their dreams were often more powerful and meaningful, capable of altering the direction of their divine roles. For example, one of the most famous instances of dreams influencing the gods comes from the myth of Achilles' fate. In the Iliad, the goddess Hera sends a dream to the Greek hero, instructing him to go to war. While this dream seems to encourage action, it's also full of forewarning about the consequences of his involvement in the Trojan War. Similarly, gods like Apollo or Artemis might receive dreams that guide them to help or hinder mortals, depending on the whims of their divine personalities. These divine dreams weren't just fleeting thoughts, they were powerful visions that carried the weight of destiny and guided the actions of the gods. Historians still argue about the nature of these dreams. Were they simply narrative devices used by the ancient poets to guide the plot of the myths, or did the Greeks truly believe that the gods were visited by dreams with divine significance? Some scholars suggest that these dreams were more symbolic, representing inner turmoil, divine influence, or prophetic wisdom, while others argue that they were a way for the gods to communicate their intentions to the mortal realm. Either way, it's clear that dreams played a central role in the mythology, helping to drive the actions and decisions of both gods and mortals. In addition to being a source of guidance, dreams were also a way for the gods to connect with their mortal worshippers. In some myths, the gods appeared in the dreams of mortals to give them messages or warnings. These dreams were often viewed as divine messages, signs from the gods that required attention. Mortals who were visited by the gods in their dreams often took these experiences as omens, sometimes acting on the information they received. Just as the gods relied on dreams for direction, mortals depended on these divine dreams to navigate their own paths, often leading to the fulfillment of prophecies or divine interventions. As you drift into sleep tonight, consider how dreams, in both Greek mythology and in our own lives, offer us glimpses into something greater. Just as the gods of Olympus received dreams that influenced their actions and shaped the world, we, too, have dreams that guide, warn, or inspire us. The ancient Greeks believed that dreams were a sacred space where the boundary between the mortal and divine blurred, and the gods themselves could be influenced by the visions they experienced. Tonight, as you rest, think of the possibility that your own dreams might offer you wisdom, direction, or peace, just as the gods sought the same from their dreamlike visions. We've explored how the gods of Greek mythology experienced dreams, but there is one god whose control over dreams was unparalleled, Zeus, the king of the gods. While Hypnos, the god of sleep, had dominion over the sleep of mortals and immortals alike, it was Zeus who held ultimate power over the realm of dreams. As the ruler of Mount Olympus, he could influence not only the sleep of the gods but also the dreams that filled their slumbers. Zeus had the ability to direct the dreams of the gods, sending them visions that could guide their actions, forewarn them of future events, or even spark emotions that influenced the gods' behavior in the waking world. Imagine yourself on Mount Olympus, where Zeus stands with his thunderbolt at the ready, surveying his realm. He doesn't just govern the heavens and control the weather, he also governs the realm of dreams. As you drift off into slumber, Zeus could send you a dream that would shape your actions. These weren't just any ordinary dreams, they were powerful, often prophetic visions that carried the weight of fate. Whether he was guiding the gods to fulfill their divine duties or steering them toward specific actions, Zeus' influence over dreams allowed him to ensure that his will was carried out, even in the ethereal realm of sleep. Historians still debate the extent of Zeus's control over the dreams of the gods. Some scholars suggest that Zeus's influence over dreams was a way to reinforce his dominance and remind the gods of his authority. In this view, the control over dreams wasn't just about giving rest, it was about ensuring that the gods' decisions and actions were in line with his divine plan. Others argue that Zeus's role in controlling dreams wasn't about manipulation, but rather about guiding his fellow gods, helping them to rest and dream in alignment with the cosmic order. Whether seen as a form of divine leadership or a protective gesture, Zeus's control over dreams reinforced his position as the most powerful god in Greek mythology. Zeus's role in controlling dreams also reflects the importance of dreams as a communication tool. Just as mortals sought guidance and insight from their dreams, the gods themselves relied on their dreams for direction. The dreams sent by Zeus were often significant, filled with symbolism and messages that would shape the course of events. In this way, dreams in Greek mythology were not just fleeting experiences but crucial moments of divine communication. They were a way for Zeus to subtly influence the gods' decisions, keeping everything in balance and ensuring that the gods stayed focused on their eternal duties. As you prepare for your own rest tonight, think about the idea of Zeus watching over the dreams of the gods, sending them visions that shaped their futures. Just as the gods sought guidance through dreams, we too sometimes find answers, clarity, or inspiration in our own dreams. Whether we believe in divine intervention or not, dreams remain a powerful part of our lives, offering us a space to reflect, process, and even discover hidden truths. Tonight, as you settle into sleep, imagine the peaceful, almost magical world of dreams, where the gods, like us, find solace, guidance, and answers from beyond the waking world. As we continue exploring the role of dreams in Greek mythology, it's essential to understand how these dreamlike visions weren't just a personal experience for the gods, but often influenced their decisions and actions. Dreams, particularly the prophetic and divine dreams sent by Zeus or other gods, played a central role in guiding the gods' involvement in mortal affairs, shaping both their interventions and their relationships with the human world. For the gods, their dreams were not just ethereal wanderings, they were critical experiences that could direct the course of history. When the gods of Olympus slept, they were often visited by dreams that carried weighty messages. In the world of Greek mythology, dreams were not fleeting or trivial, they were imbued with meaning and divine purpose. Consider the case of the Iliad, where the gods are frequently depicted as receiving dreams that either influence their actions directly or set them on a path toward specific outcomes. For instance, the goddess Hera, known for her cunning and manipulative nature, would often receive dreams that helped her manipulate the course of events, particularly in the context of war and strategy. These divine dreams were not just about rest, they were channels through which the gods could be guided toward actions that would fulfill their roles in the larger cosmic plan. One notable example is the dreams sent to Agamemnon in the Iliad, where Zeus, through the intermediary of the god Hypnos, sends a dream that persuades the Greek king to launch an attack on Troy. This dream, which appears in the form of a vision of a man telling Agamemnon that the war will be successful, helps set the stage for the conflict that defines the epic. The gods' ability to control or influence the dreams of mortals was an extension of their divine power, allowing them to shape the fate of humans without directly intervening in their waking lives. In the case of the gods themselves, their dreams were just as significant. The dreams they experienced often had prophetic qualities, offering them glimpses into the future or offering them divine guidance for their roles. These visions were not just idle fantasies, they were essential components of their divine lives, reinforcing the idea that the gods' actions, like those of mortals, were guided by forces beyond their control. As powerful as the gods were, they were still part of a cosmic system that required balance, and dreams were one of the tools through which this balance was maintained. The gods' dreams were sacred, and their interpretation was a key part of ensuring the smooth functioning of the universe. Historians continue to debate the deeper symbolism of dreams in Greek mythology. Were they meant to be seen as a natural consequence of sleep, representing subconscious desires and thoughts, or were they truly divine communications that carried messages from the gods? Some argue that the dreams experienced by the gods were symbolic of their struggles and uncertainties, reflecting the complex emotions and decisions they faced. Others suggest that dreams were seen as direct divine interventions, as the gods had the power to influence not only the physical world but also the dream world. Whether viewed as divine inspiration or the manifestation of their divine thoughts, the significance of these dreams in guiding the gods' actions cannot be overstated. As you drift off to sleep tonight, think of the gods of Olympus, receiving their dreams filled with visions of the future, prophetic messages, and divine guidance. Much like the gods, we too may experience moments of reflection in our dreams, where thoughts and concerns are sorted through in a space separate from the waking world. Whether these dreams offer clarity, comfort, or confusion, they connect us to a deeper part of ourselves, much as they connected the gods to their divine roles. Just as Zeus watched over the dreams of the gods, we too are guided through our dreams, sometimes unknowingly, toward a clearer sense of direction and understanding. As we continue to explore the fascinating ways Zeus influenced the lives of the gods, let's take a closer look at his control over their dreams. We've seen that Hypnos, the god of sleep, governed sleep itself, but it was Zeus who had dominion over dreams, using them as a tool to shape the actions and thoughts of both gods and mortals alike. While most people associate Zeus with thunder, justice, and ruling the skies, his power extended into the realms of sleep and dreams. Imagine yourself in the divine halls of Mount Olympus, where Zeus stands, overseeing both the physical realm and the dream world, ensuring that everything remains in balance. Zeus had the unique ability to send dreams to the gods, dreams that could inspire them, manipulate them, or even drive them to make important decisions. In a way, Zeus' ability to control the dreams of the gods was another way of asserting his authority over the pantheon. Not only could he control the sky and the weather, but he could also shape the very subconscious thoughts of those around him. The dreams he sent were not random or trivial, they were powerful, intentional, and always tied to his divine plan. They were messages, often veiled in symbolism, designed to nudge the gods towards certain actions or prevent them from straying too far from their duties. One famous example of Zeus using his control over dreams occurs in the Iliad, when he sends a dream to Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek forces in the Trojan War. In this dream, Zeus convinces Agamemnon that the Greeks will be victorious in their war against Troy, leading him to take action based on that dream. While this intervention is subtle, it reflects Zeus's profound ability to manipulate not only the waking world but also the very realm of dreams. By sending a dream to Agamemnon, Zeus was shaping the course of a war that would decide the fate of nations. This manipulation of the dream world shows how even the most powerful beings in Greek mythology weren't entirely immune to the whims of the gods, and how dreams played a pivotal role in determining the fate of mortals and immortals alike. Historians still debate the extent to which Zeus's control over dreams was symbolic or literal. Some scholars argue that the myth of Zeus sending dreams to gods and mortals was a reflection of the ancient Greeks' belief in fate and divine intervention. In this view, Zeus's control over dreams was an expression of the larger cosmic order, where the gods held sway over not just the physical world but the realm of sleep as well. Others suggest that these dreams were more symbolic, representing moments of inspiration or warning that the gods imparted to humans or themselves. Either way, the control of dreams in Greek mythology reflects the ancient Greeks' deep understanding of the power of sleep and the mysterious ways in which dreams can shape actions and outcomes. As you drift into your own dreams tonight, imagine Zeus standing above, watching over the realm of sleep and guiding the dreams of those around him. What might Zeus have in store for the gods in their dreams tonight? Just as he influenced their actions through dreams, we too find our own dreams leading us down paths of reflection, inspiration, and sometimes revelation. Sleep is often a space where the boundaries between the conscious and unconscious worlds blur, and just like the gods, we too can find meaning in our dreams, whether they offer us clarity or leave us with more questions. While sleep for the gods was a vital part of their restorative process, it wasn't always as peaceful or beneficial as it seemed. Just like mortals, the gods' need for rest wasn't without its complications. In some stories, the gods' sleep became a source of vulnerability or even a risk to their power and effectiveness. Imagine Zeus, the mighty king of Olympus, who had the ability to control thunder and lightning, slipping into sleep under the influence of his own elixir. As he rested, the balance of the world hung in the balance. Without his wakeful vigilance, chaos could erupt. In these instances, the gods were vulnerable, showing that even they, with their vast powers, needed their sleep to recharge and reset. The potential downside of the gods' sleep is particularly evident in myths where gods lose their vigilance during rest. For example, when the gods fall asleep, mischief and chaos often ensue. A famous instance of this occurs in the Iliad, when Zeus falls into a deep sleep during a crucial moment in the Trojan War. As he sleeps, the gods on both sides of the conflict begin to meddle in the battle, with Poseidon even intervening to assist the Greeks. This brief period of divine inaction allowed for an eruption of mortal chaos. While sleep for the gods was necessary, it also revealed a weakness. When they slept, they could not control the world as they usually did, and this absence of their presence created openings for disorder. Historians still debate whether these instances of divine vulnerability were symbolic of something deeper in Greek thought. Some scholars suggest that the gods' sleep represents the natural limitations that even the most powerful beings must contend with. In this view, the gods' need for rest, and the risks associated with it, reflect the human understanding of mortality and imperfection, no one, not even the gods, can escape the need for rest or avoid the vulnerabilities it brings. Others argue that the god's sleep was simply a narrative tool used to drive plot points and create tension in myths. Whether symbolic or practical, these moments of divine vulnerability during sleep show that rest, though necessary, was a double-edged sword, capable of affecting the balance of the world. Even in their vulnerability, the gods' sleep had a role to play in the natural order. The Greeks believed that everything in the universe had its time and place, and that even the gods had their limits. As powerful as they were, the gods were still bound by the natural rhythms of life. Sleep, then, became a reminder of the need for balance, both in the divine and mortal realms. The gods' rest served as a counterpoint to their activity, ensuring that the universe wasn't ruled solely by constant action, but by a cyclical process of work, rest, and renewal. In many ways, the gods' need for sleep represented the cyclical nature of life, reminding both gods and mortals that even the most powerful must pause for rest. As you settle into sleep tonight, think of the gods who, like us, had to pause and rest. While they wielded immense power, their vulnerability during sleep serves as a reminder of the need for balance in our own lives. Just as the gods had moments of vulnerability during their dreams, we too have our own times of rest and recovery, ensuring we are ready for whatever the next day may bring. Whether we are aware of it or not, our moments of sleep and pause shape the course of our actions. Like the gods, we find power in our rest, allowing us to wake up rejuvenated and ready to face the world anew. As we bring the story of Zeus and his sleepy gifts to a close, it's fascinating to consider how this mythology has influenced modern culture. The gods of ancient Greece, particularly Zeus with his control over sleep and dreams, have left an indelible mark on how we view sleep, rest, and the importance of balance in our own lives. In modern times, the idea of sleep as both a divine gift and a necessary form of restoration remains relevant, not just for humans, but in popular depictions of the gods and mythological figures who rule over the world. The concept of sleep as a rejuvenating force, as something that provides both rest and power, has become a key theme in modern storytelling. From fantasy novels to blockbuster films, the idea of characters, whether gods, heroes, or ordinary people, gaining strength or insight through rest and dreams is pervasive. Just as Zeus gave the gods restful gifts to maintain their cosmic power, modern heroes and heroines often find their greatest strength when they finally rest, heal, and reflect. The idea that sleep can be a transformative, restorative experience is something that has survived through the centuries, rooted in ancient myth and carried into contemporary media. In modern psychology, the importance of sleep and dreams has been explored in various ways, often echoing the ideas set forth by the ancient Greeks. Dreams, for example, are still seen as a form of insight into the unconscious mind, offering guidance and reflection on the inner workings of the soul. Just as the gods used their dreams to shape the course of the world, we too have moments in our dreams that guide us, whether through prophetic visions or simply by providing clarity on unresolved emotions or issues. The connection between sleep and the divine that Zeus maintained has transformed over time, but its significance in our modern world remains as strong as ever. Even in the realm of wellness and self-care, the gifts of sleep given by Zeus resonate today. The modern wellness movement often emphasizes the importance of rest, self-care, and mental health, acknowledging that we can't perform at our best without proper sleep and rejuvenation. Just as Zeus recognized the necessity of rest for his fellow gods, we too understand the importance of restoring ourselves through sleep and recovery. In fact, many contemporary wellness practices, whether it's through meditation, naps, or mindful sleep routines, mirror the idea that a gift of restful sleep is essential for both physical and mental well-being. Moreover, the way that Zeus controlled dreams, guiding his fellow gods through dreams and prophecies, has influenced modern interpretations of the power of dreams and the subconscious mind. In many cultures, dreams are seen as messages from the divine or the universe, offering guidance, warnings, or insight into the future. Today, the idea that dreams can hold deeper meanings or be reflective of our internal state continues to be a part of our cultural consciousness, much like the ancient Greek belief that dreams were channels for divine communication. As you prepare for your own peaceful rest tonight, think about the gods of Olympus, each one receiving their own sleepy gift from Zeus to ensure that they had the energy to fulfill their divine duties. Zeus understood that even the mightiest of beings needed rest, a concept that continues to resonate with us in our own pursuit of health, balance, and well-being. Just as the gods had their moments of pause and reflection, we too can find power in sleep and the quiet moments of rejuvenation. Tonight, as you relax into your rest, remember that sleep is not just a necessity, it's a gift, one that replenishes and restores, helping us face the challenges of tomorrow. As we reflect on the divine gifts of sleep given by Zeus and the powerful connection between sleep and the gods, it's clear that the significance of rest and rejuvenation is something that transcends both time and mythology. The gods of Olympus, despite their mighty powers, needed sleep just as much as mortals do, reminding us that no matter how powerful or invincible we may seem, rest is necessary for balance and well-being. The idea that even the gods, who controlled the fate of the universe, needed their sleep speaks to the fundamental truth that rest is not a luxury, but a necessity. Zeus' role in providing the gods with peaceful sleep shows that even leaders and the most powerful beings must prioritize their own restoration. This theme of balance, between activity and rest, between control and letting go, runs through the very fabric of ancient mythology and continues to resonate with us today. In our modern world, we're constantly told to push harder, work longer, and sacrifice our well-being for the sake of success. But in Greek mythology, the gods had the wisdom to know that their power came from taking time to rest, to step away from their divine duties, and to allow themselves moments of peaceful slumber. While we might not control the forces of nature or the fates of mortals, we too can draw inspiration from the gods' practice of sleep. Our own lives, filled with work, responsibilities, and challenges, often demand that we take moments of rest to recharge and regain our strength. In the same way Zeus gave his fellow gods the gift of peaceful sleep, we must give ourselves the gift of rest, both physical and mental, so that we can continue facing the challenges that come our way. Zeus and his control over the gods' dreams and sleep also teach us a valuable lesson in self-care and balance. In today's world, sleep is often seen as an afterthought, something we sacrifice when we have too much to do. But in Greek mythology, sleep was never trivialized. It was always treated as a sacred practice, essential for the gods' continued strength and vitality. Just as Zeus made sure that his fellow gods were well rested and able to fulfill their duties, we too must prioritize our rest and understand that it is just as important as any other task we undertake. As you settle into your own peaceful slumber tonight, think of Zeus, the king of the gods, ensuring that his fellow immortals had the rest they needed to continue their divine work. Think of the peaceful dreams that carried the gods into a well-earned respite, and how they, just like us, relied on the balance between work and rest to thrive. In our own way, we can learn from the ancient gods, embracing the wisdom of rest and the rejuvenation it brings. Sleep is not just a pause from our busy lives, it is a chance to restore ourselves, to dream, and to be ready for whatever comes next.